Start. Alright. So, my name is Dan Baker. I'm a combat veteran of the YPG International. I was initially in the U.S. Army Airborne Infantry and I refused to deploy with them because the guys in my unit were bragging about war crimes they made in Afghanistan when I got to that unit after airborne school and basic training. So I had a hard time after that because I went AWOL. I don't have an honorable discharge. But in spite of that, I went to Syria on my own as an international volunteer, and I joined the People's Protection Unit in Rojava, and I learned about socialism and democratic confederalism, and at the time I was an anarchist. When I came home, I participated in a lot of protests. Before I went to Rojava, I was at my first protest against Richard Spencer, and neo-Nazis shot at us there. If you Google Dan Baker, Gainesville Nazi shooting, you can see that in the news. When I came back from Rojava, first I was detained in Iraq by the FBI for having gone and joined the YPG because the far right was spreading rumors about me and false statements that one of them got arrested for, local Nazi Jordan Jared. But I'm just giving my story and background before I start my routine because I'm asking for help. I'm asking for money to help pay the bills and get medication that helps me with PTSD. Because when I came back from Rojava, I had been blown up by a rocket. I had been detained by the FBI. I had been knocked unconscious by that rocket and was dealing with the PTSD, and basically I was homeless in Iraq because the FBI had detained me and refused to let me get on an airplane until they did a background check into me or some shit. So I was doing what I'm doing now, and I was talking online, asking people for help, and people sent me enough money to buy a plane ticket home and get a hotel room for 2 months while I was stuck in Iraq on my way home from Syria from fighting against ISIS, where I had been knocked unconscious by an RPG. And you can see that on my channel and other videos. There was combat reporters there recording for 1 day of the 2 weeks I was on the front lines, and you can see what it was like. But eventually I was cleared to come home, and when I came home, I helped take care of my dad until he died, and then I just hitchhiked around the country going to protests. I ended up at Chaz Chop, and I was a street medic there, and I helped save a kid that got shot. I wasn't able to save the other kid, and I treated their wounds even though they were the ones shooting at us. They were shooting at the protest for some reason, the Chaz Chop occupation protest, and I was able to help save one of them. Then I came back to Tallahassee where I live. I've been here for 10, 12 years. I got here in 2013, and it's now 2026. But so when I came back to Tallahassee, I kept getting approached by undercovers and informants and federal agents trying to get me to verbally to commit some kind of act of terrorism or plot to rob a bank. And a federal agent came up to me when I was at jiu-jitsu practice, and he popped his trunk and was like, "Hey bro, check it out, I got machine guns and pistols with the switch and modified assault rifles. You ever get into this?" And I'm like, "No sir." And he's like, "Well, I converted to Islam and I hate the president and the government and want to rob a bank." And I was like, "Not me, bro. I'm good. Don't threaten me with a good time." And that happens all the time since I came back from Rojava. Once or twice a week, somebody will come up to me and trying to get me to do some crazy shit. I always decline. And they ended up arresting me for a Facebook post saying that if the people who did January 6th try that here, me and my friends would defend the Florida Capitol with every caliber available, because they said in their chat groups that we infiltrate, the far-right neo-Nazis and their similar groups said that they were going to attack the Florida and Texas state capitals specifically, and every state capital in general that they could. But because I went around passing out flyers and posting online saying defend the Florida state capitol on Inauguration Day when they said they were going to attack, they did not do it. But the FBI SWAT team kicked down my door and took me straight to federal prison. And I spent a year in solitary confinement where the guards put a Nazi in my cell to attack me. And you can Google that too, you can verify it online. And I spent altogether 2.5 years in federal prison. I was sentenced to 44 months, and I have 3 years of probation that should be over in about 2 months. But again, I bring all this up because now I'm asking for help getting my PTSD medication, paying the bills this month. I'm about to live stream my daily routine of meditation, yoga, martial arts. I'm going to be working on the wooden dummy here, training with resistance bands on my arms and legs, going through martial arts combos and forms and body weight exercises and yoga. But before that, I'm going to read, then I'm going to meditate on this routine I'm about to do, and then I will do this routine. So, reach out to me if you'd like to help. I did DoorDash and Uber Eats for 2 years on my little electric bikes when I got out of prison, and because of that I owe the IRS $1,500 because DoorDash and Uber Eats don't take taxes out. And I'm trying to pay the IRS, but I'm a line cook and I live paycheck to paycheck, barely making it every month. And I'm doing my best. So next week, Monday and Tuesday, I'm teaching yoga at the Kung Fu School here in Tallahassee. You can reach out to me for details. I'm trying to get a donation-based class going there to help me pay these bills. Rent, medication, paying the IRS, getting out of debt, and groceries. Goddamn. Because we are all struggling under capitalism right now. So I'm requesting mutual aid. And I will shut up and start with my reading now that it's 10:30. And for the next 2.5 hours, I'll be doing this daily routine, and I encourage you to follow along with the workout as best you can, with the yoga, and sit and read and meditate along with me, however you like. I'm just going to be quiet for the next hour while I read and meditate. So, thank you. And I'm reading the Communist newspaper by the Revolutionary Communists of America, which I work to support and fundraise as often as I can. just been doing the reading portion of my daily routine. I'm about to meditate for 30 minutes, and while I meditate, I'm going to be visualizing what I'm going to do, training on the wooden dummy. Then I'll train with the wooden dummy, working on the traditional form for about half an hour, and then I'll do a 30-minute workout, focusing on just like one combo chain of techniques, and there will be some striking, some takedowns, leg locks, arm locks, stranglehold, solo drills, and then pin escape drills at the end. And then after all that, I'll do some yoga. So right now I'm going to meditate for 30 minutes, and I encourage you to sit with me and do the same. So I'm going to warm up with some of the forms, and then I'm going to work with the wooden W. Go, wake up. Time to go, buddy. Sorry.
additional forms from Wing Chun, and then I'm going to work on the wooden bin. So that's it for the traditional workout. I'm going to do my little freestyle high intensity interval training next. Some music.
I start seeing people getting happy and shit. at you. It's our responsibility to soar to the Coliseum of life, prepared for fucking battle. I don't care what you're going through, what life's throwing at you. It's your responsibility to find your new 100%. Take it upon yourself to do that. Stay hard. Not about the rain. For the rain represents life is always giving you a test, trying to give you a way out. Not about the rain. For the rain represents life is always giving you a test. this in the language of Oriental philosophy and religion, it would be something like this. The Buddha said that wisdom must come only from the abandonment of selfish craving or desire. The Buddha said that wisdom must come only from the abandonment of selfish craving or desire. One who abandons that desire attains nirvana, which is supreme peace, liberation. Nirvana means in Sanskrit, blow out. That is, exhale the breath. Exhale the breath. The opposite, desire, is to breathe in. Now if you breathe in and hold it, you lose your breath. But if you breathe out, it comes back to you. It comes back to you. The Buddha said that wisdom must come only from the abandonment of selfish craving or desire. The Buddha said that wisdom must come only from the abandonment of selfish craving or desire. So the principle here is, if you want life, don't cling to it. Let go. Let go. But the problem is, if I desire not to desire, is that not already desire? How can I desire not to desire? How can I surrender myself when myself is precisely an urge to hold on, to cling to life, to continue to survive? To survive. To survive. The Buddha said that wisdom must come only from the abandonment of selfish craving or desire. The Buddha said that wisdom must come only from the abandonment of selfish craving or desire. I can see rationally that by clinging to myself I may strangle myself. I may be like a person who has a bad habit, as a result of which he is committing suicide. And he knows that, but can't give it up, because the means of death are so sweet. whatsoever. Fight. Fight that ticking clock with everything you got. So, like the end of a hard day, put your head down with ease, satisfied that you give your best. Jocko, focus in a battle is easy. How do you keep focus in a long war? Akira, well, that can definitely be true. It can be pretty easy to focus on the battle that's right in front of your face. And when you're doing that, sometimes you can lose track of the long-term goal. The long-term goal. The long-term goal. Make it happen. Make it happen. The long-term goal. The long-term goal. Never lose sight of that. Ever. I want to have that long-term goal so embedded in my mind that I never lose sight of it. Ever. And those little tasks and projects and short-term goals that you tackle, they need to lead toward that strategic victory. Winning the long war. The long-term goal. The long-term goal. Make it happen. Make it happen. The long-term goal. The long-term goal. Never lose sight of it. Ever. And we get very caught up in instant gratification. We want results now. We want the shortcut to the winner's podium. And sometimes, when we don't get that short-term glory that we want, lose track of those long-term goals. And you look up in 6 weeks, or in 6 months, or in 6 years, and you've made no progress. None. You never moved. You might even be further from your goal than you were. Why? Why did you let that happen? It's because you lost sight of that. The long-term goal. The long-term goal. Make it happen. Make it happen. The long-term goal. The long-term goal. you settle. You settle for mediocrity. You settle for average. You settle for, oh well. But no. Don't do that. Embed that long-term goal in your mind. Burn it into your soul. Write about it, talk about it, hang it up on your wall. But most important, do something about it. Do something about it every day. Do something that moves you toward that goal, that keeps the goal alive and in sight and in focus. However small or insignificant that step might seem, take it to it. Do that little piece. Make it happen. Make it happen. Because that goal isn't going to achieve itself. It's all on you. Do you know who Akira the Dawn is? Of course. He's a beast. Losers have goals and dreams. Winners have systems. Losers have goals and dreams. Winners have systems. And these systems have been around forever. Have been around forever. Losers have goals and dreams. Winners have systems. The same system to getting fit, getting rich, changing your physique has been around forever. Hypertrophy training and proper macronutrients. But can you stick to it? Can you stick to it? The same system for being financially sound or independent has been around forever. Understand the compound effect, compounding interest. Let your money work for you. And you be disciplined enough to get enough money to have it work for you. Can you be disciplined enough to drop the weight and keep it off? Would I be Wes Watson if I was fucking 40 pounds heavier? No. Would I be able to stay as disciplined as I need to if I was still drinking on the weekend? No. Would I be where I'm at today if I didn't have my daily routine? No! Losers have goals and dreams. Winners have systems. Losers have goals and dreams. Winners have systems. Crazy! We're all not that different, just different habits. Confucius said that. Everybody's the same, just different habits. So I'm going to tell you guys exactly how to do this. Get yourself in the best shape you've ever been in. And you start to feel that high frequency. You start to vibe high, you start to see life different, then you start to see the value and looking better and feeling better. Before that, you'll have dropped your vices. All alcohol, all drugs, and everything's got to go. Now you're really understanding that this is the best you've ever felt. You've had money, you've had everything going your way. You've never felt this good. So this trumps all of that. If I choose to self-sabotage myself, my frequency is so low that I can't see all the great things in my life. So the first thing you need to do is put yourself into that high-frequency lifestyle and become attached to it. Once you've done that, then you can teach others to do exactly what you did. Losers have goals and dreams. Winners have systems. Losers have goals and dreams. Winners have systems. And these systems
Next is yoga.
my grandfather Beerus. Character and self-control, my father. Integrity and manliness, my mother. Her reverence for the divine. Her generosity. Her inability not only to do wrong, but even to conceive of doing it. My great-grandfather, to avoid the public school, hire good private teachers, and accept the resulting costs. As money well spent, my first teacher, not to support this side or that in chariot racing, this fight or that in the games, to put up with discomfort and not make demands, do my own work, mind my own business and have no time for slanderers, do my own work, mind my own business and have no time for slanderers. Diagnosis, not to waste time on nonsense, not taken in by conjurers, not obsessed with quail fighting or other crazes like that, to hear unwelcome truths, to practice philosophy study, to write dialogues as a student, and to choose the Greek lifestyle. Campbell at the clock. That's and lessons. 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 Rusticus, the recognition I needed to train and discipline my character, not to be sidetracked by interest in rhetoric, not to write treatises on abstract questions, to deliver moralizing little sermons, or compose imaginary descriptions of a simple life for the man who lives only for others. Steer clear of oratory, poetry, and ballad lectures, not to dress up just to stroll around the house, write straightforward letters, to behave in a consideratory way, when people who have angered us want to make up, read attentively, not to be satisfied with just getting the gist of it, and not to fall for each smooth talker. Apollonius, independence and unvarying reliability, to pay attention to nothing, no matter how fleetingly, except the logos. The same in all circumstances, the same loss of a child, chronic illness clearly, that a man can show both strength and flexibility, patience and teaching, to see someone who clearly viewed his expertise and ability as a teacher as the humblest of virtues. To have learned how to accept favors from friends without losing your self-respect or appearing ungrateful. That's and lessons. 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 Sextus, kindness, an example of fatherly authority in the home. What it means to live as nature requires. Gravity without airs. To show intuitive sympathy for friends. Tolerance to amateurs and sloppy thinkers. His ability to get along with everyone. To investigate and analyze with understanding and logic. The principles we ought to live by. Not to display anger or other emotions. To be free of passion and yet full of love. To praise without bombast. To display expertise without pretension. Literary critic Alexander. Not to be constantly correcting people. Not to jump on them when they make an error. To just answer their question or add another example. Or debate the issue itself. Not their phrasing. Or make some other contributions to the discussion. Pronto. To recognize the malice, cunning and hypocrisy the power produces. And the peculiar ruthlessness often shown by people from good families. Alexander the Platonist. Not be constantly telling people I'm too busy. Not be always ducking my responsibilities because of pressing business. Catulous. Not to shrug off a friend's resentment, even unjustified resentment, but try to put things right. To show your teachers ungrudging respect and your children unfeigned love.
heard yoga music. Can't see without my glasses. Somewhere in there. So that's my daily routine. I've been live streaming it almost every day since I got out of prison when I was a political prisoner for statements and actions I made against Trump, which I'm proud of. And on Monday and Tuesday, I'm teaching a yoga class at the local Kung Fu school here in Tallahassee. And it's a donation-based class. I'm trying to make sure I can cover all the bills. I owe the IRS money from when I was doing DoorDash and Uber Eats, and I need to get some medication for my PTSD and groceries. So that's where I'm at. And I'm a line cook. I live paycheck to paycheck, but I'm also a jiu-jitsu champion and a combat veteran. I got kicked out of the Army for refusing to deploy because the guys in the 82nd were bragging about war crimes they did. So I joined the Kurdish YPG International Volunteers in Rojava in northeast Syria, and I fought against ISIS outside of the U.S. government, outside of the U.S. military. And when I came home, they treated me like a terrorist. And undercovers and informants and all kinds of people kept approaching me and trying to get me to say or do something that would paint me in a bad light or get me in trouble. And eventually they locked me up for a Facebook post that said that if the people who did January 6th try that here, me and my friends would defend the Florida State Capitol with every caliber available. And I said those things because we infiltrate the neo-Nazi chat groups, and they were saying they were going to attack the Florida State Capitol and the Texas Capitol and every state capital that they could, but specifically Florida and Texas. So when I made the Facebook post and the flyers, and I was going around passing flyers organizing people to defend the Florida State Capitol, if the insurrectionists tried that here, the FBI SWAT team kicked my door down because a bunch of them are January 6th insurrectionists, or their racist uncles are, and so on. Cops and Klan go hand in hand. So life's been hard. I've had a difficult life. because I choose to be an activist and a volunteer. I feed homeless people as often as I can. I'm a Buddhist. I'm trying to stay out of trouble. I'm a martial artist. And if you look at my page, you'll see ways to help. I'll make a little post with pictures in a minute. And but I just did my daily routine of reading, meditation, martial arts, and yoga. This routine helped me get through federal prison when I was a political prisoner. I spent a year in solitary. Guards put a Nazi in my cell to attack me, and I choked him out. And I've had to use this martial arts several times. I used to live in a jiu-jitsu school when I was homeless after I got out of the army, and I spent all my time competing, and I would beg for my daily bread and then work whenever I could find a job, but people don't want to hire a homeless guy that is either living in a tent or in a jiu-jitsu school or whatever. So things are better now, but I'm trying to keep this apartment. I'm trying to get out of trouble with the IRS and pay them back. So I am asking for help. I'm asking people to send money. I'll probably set up a new GoFundMe. And yeah, that's pretty much everything. So I'm going to end the live stream. Please like, share, and subscribe, and think about looking me up. You can Google Dan Baker, political prisoner. You can look at the combat footage on this channel where you can see me fighting against ISIS with the Kurds and the YPG. I used to be an anarchist my whole life because I just don't trust politicians, and I was too busy struggling to survive to read. And when I was locked up, I suddenly had a lot of time and books, and people sent me books from all around the world and letters. And the most help I got came from other anarchists and communists. And the government and the far right kept accusing me of being a communist. And conservatives I ran into kept accusing me of being a communist. And I was like, why? They must be really afraid of communism and communists. But they don't seem to worry about anarchists because anarchists are too chaotic to be organized. And anarchists do organize, and they did effectively help me in prison, but they did not help me get out of prison or stop me from getting locked up or stop the government from locking me up like anarchists and communists did with Assata Shakur. So I thought, I need to learn. And when I read, I realized anarchism isn't going to work in the long run. And the only path forward that can bring us to a Star Trek-like future is socialism. It's communism. And so now I'm learning and working to join the Revolutionary Communists of America, which is the American branch of the Revolutionary Communist International. Excuse me. And they're a serious political organization. They're legal. They're above ground. They're not doing anything that will get me to violate probation. And fingers crossed, my probation ends in 2 months. I've been on probation for 3 years, and I spent 2.5 years in federal prison. So, I don't regret anything. I believe in what I struggle for, and that is for everyone, everywhere, to have housing, healthcare, education, transportation, and a meaningful job, and the training to get that job, and to improve in that career, and master skills and combine them in new ways. So yeah, I'm going to shut up and end this live stream. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe, and consider some mutual aid to help me out.